Now we're going to talk about that awful shooting on Saturday in London, Euston in London. A man's now been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. It left 6 people injured, including a child, 7-year-old girl who remains in a critical condition. Joining me now in the studio for the latest on this, police commentator Graham Wettone. Graham, good to see you. Sad, Graham, that we're talking about this, and we're increasingly talking about this sort of thing. We had the Christmas murder in Liverpool, indiscriminate shooting as well, a beautiful young girl. And now we have this. We have people attending a funeral. Therefore, whoever the shooter was knew that whoever he wanted was going to be in that congregation as well. What did you make of this? Lunchtime on a Saturday afternoon?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's still early days in that investigation. So, as you said, one arrest has been made. So that'll be part of the reason, the motive, etc. Was that the actual target? Was that the venue? Were the people actually there targeted by it? And we've seen other incidents where there's been, innocent victims being caught up in these attacks. So that'll be part of the focus of the investigation. But it just shows an escalation in violence, or the type of violence some people are willing to use on the street.
Yeah, I mean, we're used to knife crime in this country, aren't we? It's a huge problem. People always talk about the guns in America as if it's a distant problem. But as Eamon says, now we're seeing it on our shores increasingly. Yeah,
it is. And it's a worrying trend for policing. It comes down to, again, building your trust and relationships with communities to get the information about either people carrying knives or carrying firearms or holding firearms illegally, and then the propensity or the capacity to go out and actually use them, and actually using that information to try and prevent it.
Graham, but the thing that gets me is that there seems to be a confidence. Either the people who are using, and we have been down this, as Isabel said, with knife crime before, that they use knives with impunity, or they've got a defence about this. Is the defence for using a gun the same as it would be for using a knife? Well, I had it to protect myself.
Yeah, similarly. And we see it a lot with gangs involved in organised crime, be it drugs or whatever criminality they're involved in. It's actually to protect what they've got, protect their area, protect whatever criminal activities are taking place. So they get them to actually protect themselves against other criminals. And it's members of the public that tend to then get impacted.
I just think the vulnerability of these poor people, at this particular time, this weakness at a funeral service. I mean, how despicable. Well, you can't get despicable. The young girl in Liverpool was a despicable Christmas crime. That family will never be able to celebrate Christmas Eve again or anything like that. But one of the things that incenses me is mafia-type films and gangster-type films which glamorise the use of guns. And I don't know about you, it might be just a thing with me, but people go, best movie ever made was The Godfather, and great film on the Krays. I couldn't care less about the Krays. I don't want to know about the Krays. I just know they were bad people. And the idea, I worry that there is a glamorisation associated with bad people.
I think you're right. I think there are parts of society or the film industry that glamorises almost like criminality and bad people. You go back to like the westerns, and it was the same, wasn't it? Bonnie and Clyde. It's like
the difference with the westerns was in the old days they used to have either a white hat or a black hat, and you knew the goodie from the baddie. And you have a John Wayne film or whatever it is. There's no doubt about who the good guy is and who the bad guys are as well. But the lines are very much blurred now in the minds of these people who pull the trigger. What on earth, are they drugged up to the eyeballs? Are they being paid for this? Is it we've seen it in Ireland that it's some sort of fanatical cause that they're married to or whatever. It has to be money or drugs.
A lot of it is. It's money. It's basically trying to acquire stuff, either be it money or property or things. So it comes down to almost like trying to acquire stuff, so getting more money, and that's where criminality tends to come from, all criminality.
But are we seeing a rise in violent crime, and is that a consequence of cost of living crisis? People are more desperate, people are taking more extreme measures, or is it a weak government? I mean, we've been hearing about a bit of a problem for Rishi Sunak. Does he appear to be the Prime Minister of law and order or not? I mean, is there this rise in violent crime, do you think?
The Met Commissioner was on the other week talking about specifically London, but across the country there's been a drop in some parts of violent crime, but then other crimes then escalate. And it's exactly what can you prioritise, really? What are you dealing with that particular week? What's your priority for that particular period of time? What do the government want you to focus on? And what crimes are actually increasing? You've only got finite resources to look at, be it domestic abuse, be it online crime, online fraud, etc., or violent crime. So they've been tackling violent crime to a good extent recently.
What do you think of this public order bill, just out of interest as a former copper? Do you think it's good to give the police more powers to deal with these sorts of protests?
I don't actually think the police need more powers for protest. They don't need more legislation. There's enough legislation on the books. What we need is the courts to actually take action against people when they're arrested and put before them for these types of offences.